I'd like to echo the Chair's opening remarks welcoming Inclusion London, because one of the major issues and complaints I receive from disabled Londoners is that the centre of London has more infrastructure, if you like, in terms of accessible and step-free stations, but Outer London doesn't, and we are far behind where we should be after the previous mayor froze or stopped step-free stations coming forward. I'm pleased to say that in my time as Assembly member, we've seen Sudbury Hill, Harrow on the Hill become step-free. One of the beneficiaries, I think Adam Gabsi, is in the audience today. But can you assure us and Londoners that you will continue that investment in step-free access so that transport infrastructure in Outer London is also accessible to all?
Look, I think if you're assiduous lobbying on this, and I've met Adam many times, and he's explained to me it makes it easy for him to go and see his beloved Arsenal, particularly in the last couple of years. It's a joy to watch them. I'm afraid you're behind Liverpool, Adam, when it comes to the Premier League table. But listen, I recognise the importance to people who have challenges around accessibility, having step-free access. And the issue is this, I think, Krupesh, is that many of us who don't rely on wheelchairs sometimes don't realise the consequences of the lack of step-free. So I'll give you one example. From London Bridge on the Northern Line to Morden, there's no step-free. Now, I've never noticed that because I can use the escalator, I can use stairs. But if you're disabled, that's a big issue, a big challenge. And there are other parts of London which are step-free deserts. And we're doing what we can to try and address this issue. We've managed to increase hugely the amount of stations that are step-free. We've gone from a quarter to 33% in relation to improvements in underground. Still not good enough. We're making more progress on our buses and our bus stops, trams, overground. The Elizabeth line is all accessible. But you're right, we've got to carry on making sure we invest in this, because public transport, if it's to mean what it says on the tin, it's got to be transport accessible to all the public, including those who use wheelchairs.
Thank you, and I welcome the recent announcement from TfL on investment into feasibility studies at Rayners Lane and Alperton stations in my constituency as well, along with 8 other stations across London. Now, turning to the Superloop, it has so far been a success, certainly in my part of London, with the Superloop 10 route. But are you on track to deliver the Superloop changes that you had proposed in 2024?
Thanks. So thank you for that, and it's great to see the huge success of the SL10. So we are on schedule to bring in SL2, SL3, SL5. The language I'm giving is in seasons for reasons that you'll appreciate. Early spring, I'm told, but I want it to happen as soon as possible. And it's really important to recognise the huge difference this has made. More people using buses now, Superloop buses. Speaking to colleagues, I know the difference it's made, but the numbers are great as well, encouraging people back on the buses.
Thank you. And you mentioned West London Orbital in your opening answer to me. How important is that we continue to look at innovative infrastructure across Outer London so that we can connect Outer London and the boroughs beyond the centre of London together?
For too long, I mean, for the history of our city is investment in the centre of our city, and often the outer London, the suburbs, are neglected. Just look at a panoramic view of our city. Where are the tube stations? Where's the major infrastructure? You can see the problems of our cities. We're trying to address that with major infrastructure projects. The great thing about the West London Orbital is the support from the councils. Those West London councils doing remarkable amounts of work using their own money. If this thing's going to get off the ground, we need support from the councils, from City Hall, from TfL, and from the government. We're not yet ready to put in a bid to the government, but I want to thank the councils for the work they're doing to make sure we've got a bid to put into the government. The good thing is there are already lines there that we could use. So it's a scheme that doesn't cost as much as otherwise would from scratch. And there's partnership from 3 of the 4 ingredients. And I'm sure once there's a bid to go in, fingers crossed, we'll get support from the government as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Could you start the clock on this? Mr. Mayor, you referred to the importance objective of ensuring that as many stations as possible are step-free access. There is, however, once people using wheelchairs know where the lifts are, shall we say, step-free access is, then they can plan their journey. It doesn't help with planning their journey when so many lifts in outer London seem to go out of order on a repetitive basis. And I wondered if you might look into that for the future, see what progress has been made. Last year, I believe about 500. There were 500 incidents of lifts being out of order. That can be extraordinarily difficult for people with who need to use wheelchairs.
Spot on, Chair. Can I just, I fully agree with what you're saying. So our service should be, turn up and go. But for people in wheelchairs, it's not turn up as you go. They've got to plan it, and often they turn up because they've planned it with a lift there and it's not there. TfL now have a proactive teams to go out to make sure lifts are working, but also staff at stations report when a lift isn't working to make sure remedial action can be taken. Let me take away the progress that's been made, but it's an issue that's been raised before because, as you said, it causes huge misery
huge
to
amount
those
of
in wheelchairs.
inconvenience. Yeah, thank you.